Serious. What's your darkest secret? Went to a strip club one night unwilling I add. It was my second time at one of these establishments also. It was a few days before payday. I was almost broke. Went with a bunch of people I didn't know. Girls coming and going, giving me a table dance and flirting hard. The more I drank the more turned on I was. One girl come up and say $50 gets you in the back with me. I go in the back and she instantly takes my pants off, throws a condom on me and we're having sex. After everything is said and done she asked for more money. Not saying anything about a charge before the fact. Next thing I know I'm in a chair in the main room with two bouncers and the manager saying they're gonna break both my arms and throw me in jail if I didn't get $300 now. Out of all people I call my boss at the time. He shows up, pays the girl. Everything is settled and he ends up getting a dance. Very few people know this. I've yet to go back to another strip club nor want to. I was 21 at the time it happened. Just days before my 22nd B-day.
Dude, I hope you gave 110% at work after this.
What's your fuck, not again story? Sent an email to a couple of the professors at my university, the main purpose of which was an attached file. Forgot to attach the file. Sent another email like, whoops sorry everyone, forgot to attach the file. Please find it attached here, forgot to attach it again. This alone still makes me cringe, but as if this wasn't enough, a few months ago I started working with one of these professors as an assistant to a major conference he's organizing for next year. It was up to me to send out the call for papers email to the 300+ people on our mailing list. Guess what happened, again? Greatly enjoyed the sea of emails I immediately received about the mystery file that was never attached. Thank you for the gentle reminder that my life is a never-ending nightmare of incompetence. What's a story that you've heard that still gives you chills to this day? My friend told me about something that happened to her when she was younger, about 8 or 9. She was walking home from school and got her key out to let herself into the house. Her single mom worked and came home later on weekdays. As she reached up to put her key in the door her mom opened it, in dressing gown having left home sick. Instead of greeting her, she looked straight past my friend and immediately said, "Who are you?" My friend turned around and a man in a long coat hurried back down the path and down the street. Being ill that day had potentially saved her daughter from something potentially horrible happening to her. Have you ever, correctly, had a gut feeling to dislike someone who, on the surface, was a cool person that everybody else liked? What's that story? Interviewing a guy for a job. Something doesn't feel right but my interviewing partner really seemed to like him. We get to his portfolio of work and I see my side project that I worked on alone as one of his websites. So I start asking him questions about it. What challenges he had, how the client was, etc. I let him go on and on then I say, I have to level with you. This is my work. You are showing me my own work. Look at the source near the footer. It has my website in the comments. He went ghost white and I just sat there. After that I coached him a little on how not to suck and he left. We called the contract agency that sent him and let them know. What perfectly true story of yours sounds like an outrageous lie? I received a car as a tip while working as a cocktail waitress. Without extra service. I found out he had overheard me talking to coworkers about not having a car and lining up rides. Also, I was trying to save money to go back to college, since I did poorly the quarter before. Yes, still on the quarter system and my parents stopped footing the bill. He paid his tab with his 2 friends and left me a $50 tip. Note. This was over 15 years ago and the tip was almost the cost of the bill. The car was delivered to me at work the next day by his lawyer and I never saw the man again. At first I wouldn't accept it because I wondered his motives and what strings would be attached. The lawyer assured me it was just a kind gesture and his client wanted nothing in return other than that I return to school and finish my degree. Now it wasn't a fancy, flashy, brand new car, but it was still a car, only couple years old. Come to find out the man owned quite a few car dealerships as well as all of the company I will not name, the area. I never tell this to people, because hell, I probably wouldn't believe it either. What is your best, fuck it, I've been a nice person my whole life, now I'm going to do something bad story? I lived with random roommates one summer in college. This one guy used to regularly wake up to his alarm, hit snooze, and then manage to leave for the day without ever turning it off. He always locked his door and it would just go off endlessly. I complained about it constantly but he still would never manage to turn it off. It woke me up an hour earlier than I needed every single day and it was driving me mad. Finally one day he forgot to close his door so I took the radio, disassembled it, removed the speaker, and then put it all back together and set the correct time. I think he missed couple quizzes because of it, but fuck it, he deserved it. He finally got a new alarm which had a much shorter snooze timer and it never happened again. It was awesome. What is your, oh shit, I've got to get the hell out of here right now story? 3 years ago, a heavy 7.1 MW earthquake hit the center of Mexico. I was in the 3rd floor of my school building when the horrible sounding seismic alarm went off and the building began shaking like jelly. Bookshelves falling, parts of the ceiling crumbling over, people screaming, it was hell. In all of that madness, your only instinct is yelling at you to get your ass out of the fucking building. Picture this. You know that tons of steel and concrete will fall over you if you don't. However, and it's a big however, unless you're in the ground level floor of the building, that is, you don't have to take any stairs, elevator to get out and the exit is nearby, you must fight against that instinct. It is vital to stay where you are and crawl next to a desk, chair, bed, anything that can shield you against the debris of the falling building. Thing is, if the building collapses and you are midway through to the exit, your survival chances are pretty thin, even more so considering that stairs are the first structures to collapse in an earthquake. So, all of my classmates and I stayed in fetal position next to our desks, fighting against our get the hell out of here right now instincts, waiting for the earthquake to pass. In the end, thankfully, our school didn't collapse in the earthquake, but several buildings in the vicinity did. Interesting fact. The silence immediately after an earthquake is terrifying. Then you start hearing dogs bark, helicopters buzzing and ambulances sirens. Serious, people who have survived a murder attempt, by dumb luck. What's your story? Thank God for my nosy neighbors. I always used to hate how nosy they were. Until this happened. When I was about 10 I was riding my bike outside. My parents always let me ride my bike outside during the summer, but only up and down the street we were on. One day, a man in a van was parked across the street. He called to me, asking me if I had seen his dog and could help him find it. Me, being a dumb child, offered to help him find it, and I started walking towards his van. My neighbor, an older white lady, came bolting out of her house hooting and yelling, telling the guy to back off. The dude got back in his car in a hurry and took off, and it wasn't until many years later that I realized how bad that situation could have been. Who had grandparents fight in WW2 and what stories did they share? Grandfather was in an amphibious division in the Pacific Theater. He left us with little snippets of his time. A camp was pitch black because they didn't want to be visible from above. A guy in his cabin went to the outhouse and sat down to do his business when he heard something. He pulled his lighter out and lit it. A python was dangling down staring him in the face. He and another man were walking on a beach and the other guy just got shot through the head from a sniper. That sniper's decision led to my existence. General MacArthur showed up and gave him a promotion along with a few others. They took a video of MacArthur shaking the hands of a line of soldiers and used it for a pro-American propaganda film to be played before movies in the US. My grandma saw it and freaked the fuck out and the theater owners gave her a copy of the photo. Redditors who haven't found the right place to post your story. What is it? When I was really young I would ask my dad if I was his real son because I was Asian and he was white. He would always tell me that he was my dad and I was his son. I wouldn't bring it up too often but for some reason the thought just itched at the back of my mind. Fast forward to my first year at college, I meet my biological mother and she tells me that my dad isn't my biological father and that I was actually the son of one of my dad's friends from the Navy. My dad didn't find out until I was around 5 and afterward he decided to raise me in spite of my mother cheating on him.
That means you really are his real son and he is your real dad.